The dog didn't know it could swim, thinking of crossing the river by hopping on the stumps, but one stump in the middle stayed still. The dog was confused, wondering what to do. It felt like a dead end. Just when it didn't know what to do, the parrot suddenly appeared and said, "Hey, tiger, why don't you jump in and swim?" The dog replied, "If I jump in, won't I drown?" The parrot, annoyed, tried not to jump and directly kicked the dog. The dog was very puzzled and thought, "Oh my, I can swim after being kicked by you. It seems that I need to challenge myself in everything, otherwise I won't know my full potential." The parrot was speechless and said, "You already knew how to swim. You really know how to make a fuss." Later, when the dog was about to reach the shore, it couldn't climb up. The parrot was utterly frustrated, saying, "Your front paws are for pulling, and your hind legs are for kicking. Are you a dog or not? Why do you understand me better than I understand myself?" The dog replied, "Why are you more aware of me than I am? Let me eat grass. What's the hurry?" With this chance of wilderness adventure, the dog decided not to be a pet dog anymore and aspired to become a wild dog. So, it became the apprentice of midnight, aiming to become the lord of dogs in the morning. The first lesson in survival skills in the wild was how to find food. The dog suggested eating insects, especially those fat and juicy beetles. The parrot corrected, "You're just asking me to eat grass. What's the hurry? These are just appetizers. Wait until you see the main course." However, when the dog saw rabbits running around, it was confused, wondering if it should eat them. A qualified wild dog starts by catching wild rabbits. Otherwise, it will be a laughingstock. But the dog didn't want to harm others. This made the instructor angry. The dog was urged to make friends, and the parrot said, "What if you want to marry him? How can you let people get away with it?" This was a pure animal comedy, showing how confident the dog was. Even though the instructor was furious, the dog lacked any charisma. The instructor wanted to strangle this mischievous apprentice. With such a timid demeanor, the dog should go home and be a pet. The dog found this person interesting, saying, "I just don't like eating meat. Look, this moss on the stone is salty." I said, "Lick it once," and you lick it once. The instructor realized that the dog might not learn the first lesson, so it decided to proceed to the second lesson. The second lesson involved identifying whether an animal is an enemy, a friend, or a roommate. For example, a bear seemed harmless, but could be deadly when angered. There were also short-tailed dwarf kangaroos that were generally harmless but could be amusing. With no dangerous animals nearby, the instructor took the dog to the third lesson, how to recognize the weather. They reached a snowy mountain, and the dog was puzzled about its significance. The instructor explained that the dog's grandfather was a Siberian husky, and they could run on snow with ease. Suddenly, an earthquake occurred. The dog wondered if it was an avalanche, but the instructor pointed out a group of horses nearby. As they walked, the dog smelled a candy-like fragrance. The instructor cautioned about poisonous snakes, and the dog, in fear, ran away. Soon after, a fire broke out in the vicinity. The dog was alarmed and called for the instructor. Learning to mimic the instructor's voice, the dog successfully communicated. The instructor believed the dog had made progress and could now handle situations alone. However, as they walked, they encountered a road, a distant truck, and a lizard lying on the road. The dog panicked, and the parrot scolded it for not being vigilant. The truck crushed the lizard, and the dog was ready to cry. The parrot commented, "Good night, my little thought. Why do you love sleeping so much?" "Go away. I want to sleep. I just wanted to help you. This thing doesn't know how to appreciate kindness. Don't expect any gratitude from these cold-blooded creatures. If they don't retaliate, that's good enough." So, the dog learned the first rule of natural law: look out for yourself. That's what the instructor told him. If you want to survive in the wilderness, find a wild dog as your teacher. My teachings are too limited. After a simple farewell, the dog decided to travel alone. However, there was no water in the wilderness, and the dog thought of asking a love rat for directions. It almost got stung by the rat, leading the dog to conclude that animals in the wilderness were heartless. The dog, aspiring to become a wild dog, felt a bit lost. In despair, when it started raining heavily, the dog sought shelter in a cave. Unexpectedly, it found two wild dogs fighting over a fruit. Finally, it had found wild dogs, but before it could rejoice, a flood swept through the cave. The dog sacrificed itself to save a rat from being washed away. When the dog woke up, it was with its mother, realizing that finding a wild dog wasn't as expected. Overwhelmed, the dog fainted. When it woke up again, its mother asked about its wishes. The dog expressed a desire to become a wild dog. The mother agreed, making the dog ecstatic. They went for a walk, and the mother asked why the dog wanted to be a wild dog. The dog replied that life had become boring, and being fearless in the face of danger was the only thrill. The mother complimented the dog for its bravery when it saved her. The mother insisted that the dog had already succeeded and should return home to its mother, who would be overjoyed to see its bravery. The mother called for a rat delivery service and sent the dog home in a bag, giving it a unique perspective. Not satisfied with the adventure, the dog's mother arranged for a sea turtle to bring the dog back, making it an extraordinary experience. After numerous challenges and difficulties, the dog finally reached the other side. Unable to contain its excitement, the dog hurried home to find its mother. When the mother saw the child, she was overjoyed. "Where did my child go? I was so worried." It seems that whether you are a human or a dog, whether you are a CEO of a listed company or an ordinary employee, a child with a mother is a treasure. When you are tired and feeling down, home will always be your refuge, and parents will forever be your strongest support. All right, the story is over. May you always remain innocent and carefree. Goodbye.